完璧などありえない。この世界は不完全。だから美しい。もう
バカ。何？俺は海賊王になる。なんて美味しさなの。
力を渡した時に言ったことを覚えているかい？くれ。違う、そこじゃない。
変態。遅い。
Hello and welcome to More Than Hentai, a podcast is here to show you that anime is far more than just tentacles and catgirls. There's also countless stories of love, loss, laughs, hope, horror, and happiness that are just dying to be found. And I, Brendan White, the Salt and Pepper Senpai, I'm here to help you find them. More Than Hentai is proudly powered by our friends over at Audio Technica and Dashwater. So go upgrade your audio and hydration games today, preferably after you finish listening to this absolute banger of an episode. And joining me in the Segoy studio is a man so fresh, he had to go live with his auntie and uncle in Bel Air, who were not absolutely crushing the anime content creation space with his UK-based crew known as the Anime Freshmen, can be found in the squared circle consuming all things professional wrestling, fighting the good fight in the MCU, and occasionally dabbling with writing. He cites Attack on Titan, Haikyuu, Frieren, Hunter x Hunter, Bleach, Naruto, and To Your Eternity as some of his all-time favorite anime. You can find him on them socials at iParkerP. Parker Zensai, you bloody legend. Welcome to the studio. How might you be doing, my friend?
I am all good, sir. And you probably heard this many times before, but that intro, wow. Can you write my intros going forward? Because that was actually really good.
It would be my pleasure, man. You just tell me the theme, the tone, and I'll do my best to not disappoint. But dude, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule. We were talking offline earlier, and you've had to actually move date night around for me. So thank you so much for keeping everything happy in the household. Because yeah, if you haven't heard there, listeners, we do have some different accents shared between us here. So yeah, I'm recording at just on 10 p.m. on Sunday, the 12th of January. And yeah, Parker is calling in from about 11 a.m. on the same Sunday. So I'm calling you from the future. You're calling me from the past, but either way, it's going to be a good time.
Indeed. To be honest, before we jump in, I've got a bone to pick with you.
Okay, let's go.
So obviously you're from a different neck of the woods, and I grew up in London, the UK, and I grew up with a good friend who fell in love. Ended up moving to your side, and I just got to say, you're still one of the good ones.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, but not sorry. If anything, it just means you've got another excuse now to come visit in Australia, right? So if anything, we've probably done you a favor because now you can get out of the UK for a little bit, get out of dreary London and come see fantastic sunny Australia right now. It's hot as hell over here. It's summertime, sweat's pouring off us, and it's it's a good time to be here. So get on a plane after this episode and come hang.
Well, if you're my tour guide, I'll take you up on an offer.
Oh, yeah. No, I think we've got a lot of synergies as far as a lot of fandoms and hobbies and habits, I think, that we both consume in parallel in our respective necks of the woods. And I guess before we jump into all the cool things you're doing with Anime Freshmen and some of the other fandoms that we share, maybe I guess we could start with, your backstory, your origin story. How did you discover this fantastic medium that is anime?
Oh, well, to be honest, it's probably a little bit cliche, but I started watching anime before I knew anime was anime.
Okay.
We have a network called Cartoon Network over this side. Probably a lot of you have heard of it because it was a pretty global platform. But I ended up watching it in and amongst other animation or cartoon, should I say. And it kind of, to me, as a kid growing up, I was like, this is just another cartoon. So the first air quote anime that I watched before I knew anime was a show called Tenchi Muyo. And that was mixed in with other things like Teen Titans and all these other Western styles of animation that kind of blur the lines. But I guess when I knew anime was anime, and when I got a bit older, I was told to watch something called Naruto, which that would actually be the first one that I watched when I knew anime was anime.
It's a gateway drug for many, and it's a hell of a drug. It was one of the first anime that I cut my teeth on as a young kid as well. I deep dove unknowingly into more of the mature adult-oriented anime off the rip here in Australia, and it probably shaped me for better or for worse mentally. I don't know how I feel still to this day, but Yeah, Naruto, it's funny because I enjoyed it when I was a kid, but because there's been such a big lapse from then, I just haven't gone back, I guess, due to the overwhelming nature of how many episodes there are out there and how many spin-offs. So I just sort of live through everybody else now. Like I've had a crack with One Piece. Same thing, got a little bit too much, a little bit not for me and not for my speed. But out of the big three, like Bleach is probably the only one that I've worked through sort of from front to back and, working through Blood War and stuff now and still loving it. But the other two, I'm definitely a lapsed fan on, that's for sure.
I remember on my side, I ended up, I guess, juggling all three of the big three at the same time. So, like I said, when I knew anime was anime, I watched Naruto. But when I watched it back in the day, thinking it was cartoons, One Piece used to air on Cartoon Network as well. So when I heard that it was still ongoing, as I got older, to my surprise, I was like, you know what, let's give this a shot. So started again, and I'm practically up to date. And a lot of people feel, I guess, it's a bit daunting because of how many episodes there are. But in all honesty, it is definitely one of the best in terms of storytelling. But it's like probably with yourself, it's not for everyone. So you can take it or leave it. But if you were to take it, you're in for a ride.
Yeah, I'm going to wait to take it when we get the new, the soft relaunch with Wit at the helm. I'm going to jump back in then and give it a spin because I feel obviously the animation itself is going to be a lot more up to date because there is a couple of decades plus in between those first episodes and now. So some of the animation, the character models probably aren't to the standard we get a lot used to these days. And that's not a shot to the animators then. Like it's still a great story, great characters, but yeah, just dragged on a little bit too much for me, especially with some of the more snappier animes from a storytelling perspective these days. Like on your list, you've got, it's a bit of a murderer's row or who's who as far as your favorites, but I also like to see that Frieren Beyond Journey's End is already on that list, like it is for many people. Like it's quickly ascended my sort of favorites of all time as well, and rightfully so, hey.
Do you know what? Frieren is so refreshing. In terms of the newest IPs, I don't want to say it, but it's probably my favorite. Like, it's something that was pleasantly surprising that I gravitated to so quickly. It kind of takes the high fantasy genre of anime and it gives it a fresh perspective that I didn't expect to see. It kind of the animation's quality is up there, but in terms of action and fight scenes, that takes more of a backseat for the more, I guess, the more story-driven approaches, the more the routes that kind of make you go, okay, I didn't really think that you would go this way.
I love that it focuses a lot more on those quieter moments, those more human and I guess elf-like moments, if we want to sort of throw them into the same bucket, instead of it just being big battles over and over again. It is more about the in-betweens. It's the what happens next, like seeing them, when we're first introduced these characters and they've already defeated the Demon Lord, and it's like, okay, what happens now? And I love that because that type of cozy, comfortable, fresh, slow but consistent storytelling is really underrated. And yeah, Frieren is so special, and I cannot wait for the inevitable second season when it drops out. Like off the back of the anime, I've been chewing through the manga because it's such a great story. The characters are phenomenal. They're fleshed out. They're real. And it's just, like you said, it's one of the best new IP of the last several years. Like trying to avoid recency bias, but I think that and Dandadan are probably the two that hold the biggest piece of my heart at the moment. Two very different stories and two different animes in multiple ways, but just expertly done from everyone involved. And yeah, I can't speak highly enough of both.
No, I totally agree. What I'm going to add to this is I've only ever given free anime a S. I kind of like grade anime from like trash all the way to S. Mm-hmm. And the three that I've given an S to would be, in no particular order, Attack on Titan, Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, and Hunter x Hunter. Just because there have also been a few ones that are just not there. They're close to being an S, but there are a few things that I have to basically critique it hard on. But out of the two newest properties, if they kind of carry on in the vein that they're going, I don't see Frieren and also another one called Solo Leveling being far off from getting an S.
Yeah, like Solo Leveling, like it's all gas, no brakes all the time, but I'm totally here for it. Like I love that type of battle anime where it's just like, you know what, we're just gonna have crazy big things happening. Yes, we do get some backstory and some fleshing out of Sung Jinu over, you know, the season and a bit we've got now, and also through the, you know, 200 plus chapters in the manhwa. But yeah, I love that it is like it's such a direct opposite to Freerun, as far as it is just big battles, big stakes, big death, big power, holy moly, like machismo all the time. But it also is phenomenal. And A1, what they're doing from an animation perspective with solo leveling, oh me, oh my. Like, we've had the second episode of season 2 just drop overnight, and I'm so hyped. Like, I've read all the manhwa, so I know where it's going. Have you've read the story as well, Parker? You know what's ahead?
Yes, it's actually my favorite manhwa. I read it before I even knew there would ever be an adaptation, so I'm loving the ride. I'm loving it.
It's so good. And like, avoiding spoilers here, listeners and viewers, but like the ride that is to come, you ain't got no idea. Like, you thought season 1 was big. This is going to blow your little socks off. And I can't wait to see it translate to screen, because yeah, those first 2 episodes, it's so good.
Yo,
Redgate
so
arc. Anyway,
good times.
Let's broaden this discussion, because I want to talk all things Anime Freshman, which is a fantastic collective of individuals that you're part of doing awesome content. If I remember correctly, your first episode officially aired around September of 2019. So we're looking at what, 5.5 years ago you guys started this thing off, and you've been going from strength to strength. You're starting to cover a lot more and more from a media perspective. You're going to events. You're throwing these awesome watch-along parties. Like, man, I wanted to get to those Blue Lock parties so heckin' bad, but you're a little too far away from me.
I'll tell you what, if the stars align, when you do have a chance to come down to these sides, hopefully we have an event in the works, and we would have you as a guest of honor.
Yes, that would be so good. Thank you so much. I'll do my best not to embarrass you when I'm there.
To be honest, we're all weebs at the end of the day. If you want to weeb out, nerd out, be part of the culture, should I say, then be yourself. That's all we ask for.
Hell yeah. So yeah, let's talk about the Anime Freshman. How did it come to be? And any cool stories, any factoids, anything you want to throw at us? Like, the floor is yours for this episode. So let's go on some journeys. But yeah, I want to hear all about the Anime Freshman, because what you guys are doing, it's so fun and it's relatable and it's just easy content to consume. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Like, it's just, there's minimal barrier to entry for new or lapsed anime fans. Like, you can just jump it on, watch it, listen to it, however you want to consume it, and you feel comfortable and right at home. And that's one thing I love about what you guys are doing.
Amazing. Well, thank you, sir. Well, the Anime Freshman, as you alluded to, it kind of was coined in the summer of 2019. We actually are long-term friends before we actually got together to do the podcast. So one day I got on the phone and I called up my friend, because I used to commute to work listening to podcasts about work, about life in general. And then one day I was inspired. I was like, you know what? I could start a podcast. So I called one of my friends and I was like, hey, bro, do you want to start a podcast? Without hesitation, without pause, he said yes. Like, he said yes quicker than I thought he'd say yes to. So then the next question was, what are we going to talk about? And the question was a good question. We paused then and was thinking, what would be good? We thought it needs to be something that we know. So the choices were between anime, of course, wrestling, and football or soccer, depending on where you're listening to this from. So we kind of thought, what would be the most fun? So we thought, you know what? Let's go the anime route. And then he proposed that we shout 2 of our other friends who were big anime fans. And then the 4 of us got together, coined the Anime Freshman. And as you said, 5.5 years later, we expanded to a team of 7, and we started to do things that we didn't even think we'd be doing, because we got together for an excuse just to talk about anime and just to have fun. Kind of like Saitama, we just wanted to be podcasters for fun. And then things just started to, I guess, fall on our laps. So the first thing that kind of like, I guess, took us by surprise was we've never actually, at the time, we never actually went to a convention. And we always were like, oh, you know what? From the outside looking in, that's something that looks so cool. The anime conventions, the pop culture conventions, those just look so good. And we only were able to consume those through, I guess, pop culture. Like, we saw things and nods in things like Dexter's Laboratory, Big Bang Theory. So from the outside looking in, we're like, oh, you know what, this looks like a bit of us. So we applied for press passes because we're kind of in the industry. Let's see what happens. And they go back to us and they were like, oh yeah, we'll give you free entry, but would you also want to host a panel? And we're like, wait, what? Host? I mean, we're not going to say no. So we got the chance to, I guess, have our first live interaction with like the community. And that was just, I guess, the first thing that was like, whoa, we're actually doing more things than we expected to do. And after that, the rest is history. We started to host events. We started to do extra things like blog writing. We started to get invited to industry nights, host panels, interviews, and most surprising of all, I get to be on a podcast with an Australian podcast host, which wasn't on my bucket list when I thought I'd be starting the Anime Freshman.
Well, there you go. You never know, and I like that you guys have always sort of remained humble throughout this journey. Like it is so surprising and endearing. Like when you are, like you said, you've started this podcast just an excuse to sort of catch up and socialize with friends, and now you're sitting here looking back going, oh shit, like we've hosted panels, we've been part of media and done press events, and we've gone to premieres and and it really puts things in perspective and really, what's the word I'm looking for? Reaffirms, I think, what we're all trying to do. Like at the end of the day, we want to have fun and make good content. But when we can be rewarded with things like that, it really warms the heart up, I think. At least it does for me. Like that emotional light on in my heart is like beaming when we get things like that provided to us. And it's good that you're still grounded and enjoying what you do, and you haven't letting it go to your head. You're you're a good man. Good man.
It's actually funny you mentioned, I guess, emotional heartstrings and whatnot, because one of the things that I guess is one of the things that's closest to my heart is we got the chance to interview voice actors at a recent convention, and got the chance to meet the voice actor of Naruto, where we got to host a panel. And if you guys can't see, I'm just basically showing a picture to Brendan of Miley signing something for me. So anime is something that I've always like gravitated towards, and to have so many awesome moments just from talk about anime with friends is something that I will keep to my heart for the rest of my life.
Yeah, it's often like a pinch me, am I dreaming type of moment sometimes when you have these situations where you host a panel and you go, oh no, like, is anyone going to come to this thing? And then the room's packed out and everyone's having a good time. And you're like, man, this is like, these are my people here. And they care about this medium or what we're doing enough to sort of put their time aside and sit down here and listen to a couple of Englishmen or Australian rant and rave about whatever. And everyone leaves with a smile on their face. So I love that. And onwards and upwards, I think, with what you all are doing there at Anime Freshman. Like, it's a good time. I think episode 130 might have just dropped recently. So you've got a lot of content in the can. So really listeners, viewers, Sugoi Squad, at Anime Freshman on the socials, find them on there, hunt down all their content, rate, review, subscribe, all their stuff, as well as all the other podcasts and content creators you're listening to and watching as well, because those ratings, those reviews, those subscriptions, they cost you nothing. Yet it means the world to people like Parker and I, because those ratings, reviews, those subscriptions, those comments, they keep us in the algorithm. They allow us to then be more visible to potentially more fans. So just pay it forward where you can. It takes you no time, costs you no money. And it's just the best way to support what we're doing, I'd say, right?
Do you know what? I couldn't put it better myself. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Hey, I appreciate you too. And also something that I appreciate is the WWE. I am so excited. We've got the Royal Rumble coming up in a couple of weeks' time. Obviously, WrestleMania season is upon us. And Sugoi Squad, don't turn this episode off first. We will get to some anime discussion very soon, I promise. But, we've got a few things we've got to riff about first. And I want to know, have you got any early favorites, whether it be realistic or just like more of a heartfelt love that you want to see win the Royal Rumble this year, Parker?
Okay, so in terms of the Rumble, it's a bit of a weird one for me, because with wrestling, I was a huge WWE fan growing up. Like, so much so that I could have started a wrestling podcast. And as I got older, it kind of took a bit of a backseat. And I think around 2011, I kind of phased out wrestling. Not for, I guess, lack of love, but more so because life got in the way. And before I knew it, I was so behind. So recently, I was inspired to get back into wrestling from I guess from the storylines with like Roman Reigns and like all the angles that they were doing with like the bloodline. It just seemed so like, it seemed like cinema. It seemed like, I guess the old guard kind of being phased out and like Vince McMahon kind of getting less creative control. Wrestling kind of became fresh again. And it gave me the opportunity to, I guess, give it another go. And recently I've even like got into other promotions. So I'm following they're now called the Hurt Syndicate, where they're currently like putting their craft. Because I was a huge Shelton Benjamin fan. I think he was someone that I always wanted to be the world heavyweight champion, but he never got that kind of big push or the sustained push. So and I know it's not going to happen, but if he was to ever come back, I'd want him to win the Royal Rumble. But I guess in terms of who's currently on the roster, I want Shinsuke to have a run.
Is it the intro that does it to you? It is one of the best intros in professional wrestling. Like, I know they've revamped it now that he's got a bit of a heel persona going on, but I'm enjoying that he's coming out with the mask on now and he's a lot more eerie and ominous, and he's sort of got the war paint down his face. Like he's turned into a very no-nonsense heel in the WWE, and it's nice to see him back because he hasn't done much for a few years since sort of making his way through NXT and having the big grand WrestleMania intro with the violinist playing live on stage. And like it was cinema, as the kids say. And I wouldn't be sad about that. Like it's curious to know because he's carrying the US title at the moment, and LA Knight doesn't want to let him go. But I'm happy to see my girl Tiffany Stratton actually finally climb to the top of the mountain the other day. I've been a big fan of hers for obvious reasons and some less obvious for a while, but she's a hell of a talent, and it's going to be like a big rumble. Like we've already got Punk confirmed. We've got John Cena confirmed. Roman Reigns is just confirmed. So it's going to be one of the most star-studded 30-man lineups for quite a while. And my thought and my hope is The Rock gets in, whether it be at 30 and he's taken someone out, and like Cena's about to win it to then, chase his 17th title. But The Rock being now the big boss man and the final boss and the good villain persona from last WrestleMania, is he comes in and he screws over John Cena at the last minute so then he can go face Cody Rhodes and rekindle that rivalry from last year. Because, man, some of the storytelling last year with The Rock when he became the final boss was so good. Like when he towed up Cody Rhodes in the parking lot beside the van.
Yeah, outside the truck. Yeah. Oh.
Some of the best things they've done in years in those couple of weeks around Mania. Yeah. With the weight belt, so that's my hope. I want The Rock to come in, screw Cena or screw whoever's at the end there feeling that they've won it or about to, and then he goes and becomes boss man Rock, and him and Cody can sort of finish their story at Mania. Is my thought.
Cody's always finishing some story.
Yeah, he loves stories. Can't get enough of them. But yeah, wrestling, it's feeling good again. Like we're getting further and further away from the Vince McMahon dark days, and I'm very happy. Like Triple H isn't always perfect with what he does, but he's miles better than what Vince has been churning out for the last decade plus. So I'm optimistic because it's a good time, and I love that it's all on Netflix here in Australia. Like every piece of WWE content is all on Netflix now, so it's a good place to find it. Just like this anime we're about to talk to.
Very well put. So, what anime are we talking about today?
Yeah, so listeners, viewers, Segoy Squad, obviously, you have listened to Parker and I rant and rave about anything but the anime in question that we're going to be focusing on. And if this is your first time here, first and foremost, thank you for checking it out. But secondly, what took you so bloody long? This is, I think, episode 39 of More Than Hentai, so better late than never. So I kid. I'm happy that you're here regardless. But the way this podcast works is we're going to do a singular deep dive on an anime in question. We're going to go first episode front to back, unpick the good, the bad, and everything else in between, just to determine, is it worth watching? Are we going to stick around? Are we going to sort of hang around to see this season or this series come to a conclusion. We'll talk about the highs, the lows. It's going to be full spoiler for episode 1, but we will not spoil anything beyond that. Like we've both sort of consumed past this first episode in the manga, so we've got a bit of an idea as to what's to come, but we'll keep that a mystery for all. But yeah, we're going to be going full spoiler, front to back, on an anime, which is an action comedy shonen known as Sakamoto Days, which is a series written and illustrated by Yoto Suzuki, which debuted in November of 2020 and has been collected into 20 tankobon volumes and 179 chapters at time of recording. An anime adaptation written by Taku Kishimoto, directed by Masaki Watanabe, and produced by TMS Entertainment, the studio behind such titles as Dr. Stone, the remake of Fruits Basket, Relife, Undead Unluck, D-Gray Man, and Kami-sama Kiss, began airing in the past 24 hours, depending on where you are in the world. And we are currently recording on Sunday, the 12th of January. Sakamoto Days can be found on Netflix and currently holds a score of 8.05 on my anime list, and that is based on approximately 5,000 unique user reviews. I am currently scoring it about an 8 out of 10 for this first episode, and the story of Sakamoto Days is as follows. Taru Sakamoto was considered the greatest hitman of all time. Feared by many, he stood at the top of the underground world until he met and fell in love with a woman. As a result, Sakamoto abandoned his life of crime and now works as a convenience store clerk. Leaving his shady past behind proves more difficult than Sakamoto initially imagined. Many of his former rivals and partners do not believe that he's truly left the business and show up in hopes of taking him out. Barred from killing, Sakamoto must find creative ways to subdue his enemies and prevent them from bringing harm to his family, his store, and the small town he resides in. So Parker, episode 1 is called The Legendary Hitman. Let's go high level first. Let's talk about our general impressions before we sort of jump in beat by beat and unpack this beauty. So what was your overall thoughts after watching episode 1 of Sakamoto Days, titled The Legendary Hitman?
My thoughts after watching the first episode was, and as you said before, we've both consumed the manga. I thought, you know what? Well done. It's a very tidy start. It kind of does what it set out to do in terms of like getting us into the world of Sakamoto and I guess what he used to be and what he currently is now. And it kind of gives people who I guess don't know what to expect a glimpse of the slapstick humor that will ensue going forward.
Yeah, I concur with you there. Like, I thought this first episode, it did a very adequate job of covering all the main beats from chapter 1. Like, episode 1 is just almost a like for like from everything that happens in the first chapter of the manga. It's a very fun and easy watch for a first episode. There is some nice world building that happens. We do get some showcasing of our main cast and also just, I guess, some understanding of the potential stakes at play here. I thought the animation was good, but it was a little uneven at times because it feels very throwback to me. Like, it feels like almost an anime that could have been done in the late 90s or early 2000s. It's got a bit of a Gintama vibe to it as far as the animation style goes. And you know what? Like, I'm here for it because Gintama is one of the best anime out there. Like, it is so fun and so enjoyable. And this feels almost like it's not a clone or anything, but it feels very stylistically and vibe-wise cut from the same cloth. But yeah, I had a good time with this first episode.
Mm-hmm. On the social medias, I am noticing that people are critiquing the animation. I wouldn't go as far as to say the animation is bad. It's, I guess, a stylistic choice they've chosen to go with. But it kind of, like you said, by alluding to Gintama, it kind of gives me a throwback old school anime vibes, which I'm here for. Yeah,
me too. Like, and I think we get so used to just this cutting edge, mind blowing animation that's getting churned out by these fantastic studios these days. When you see something like this, it can be a bit jarring because it is a little different. Like, I hadn't felt this way, I think, with an anime from an animation perspective since the first time I maybe checked out Mob Psycho 100, where I'm like, whoa, what's happening here? Like, it's not to that same extreme, but it did feel a little different. But then I went back and reread the first couple of chapters and I'm like, yeah, this looks like a carbon copy straight from panel to pixel. So like, yeah, TMS did really well with the adaptation and I was really vibing with it. And I'm really excited to see how this world continues to translate to screen in future episodes. As far as the opening scenes go, we get a cold open, very noir type of vibe happening here, a very muted color palette. We get introduced to Taro Sakamoto and his godlike killing abilities. We see him just casually kill like 20 individuals without even breaking a sweat. Like he is just shooting guys, stabbing guys, physically abusing guys with his fists and his legs, using the environment. Like you can already tell he is like John Wickian as far as how good he is. He's a killing machine. I do appreciate too that we get a narrator that jumps in here and adds a little bit more context as to what's happening and sort of almost further builds up the myth of Taro Sakamoto here, where he's like, his prowess is unmatched, that all evil men feared him and all hitmen revered him. And I'm like, man, I love this wordplay. It's super fun. It's super enjoyable. Sakamoto is a bad son of a gun, but I can already tell there's going to be some fun along the way. And then we don't have to wait too long at all, because then we find out he meets a supermarket clerk named Aoi, who ends up, becoming his wife. They immediately fall in love. They get married. They have a daughter named Hana, who's a gorgeous, adorable little thing, by the way.
So adorable.
She's such a little sweetheart. And then we also get a little bit of public acknowledgement that since he's left the way of the hitman, he's also put on a little bit weight. But we don't, we don't body shame around here.
Mm-hmm.
You are who you are. You're beautiful no matter what shape you are. And Sakamoto is just the same. And from that moment, we're thrown into the OP. We get a fun little rock bop done by Vaundy titled Hashire Sakamoto. And it's accompanied by some general day-to-day shots where we're seeing the ensemble cast going about their daily lives, doing just menial tasks, really vibrant color work. But we do get a bit of foreshadowing because we see a lot of like an assortment of your like unique looking hitmen and baddies sort of at the back end of the OP. And I'm like, okay, there's the fun, there's the danger. Let's go. So how are you feeling? So this is about 4 minutes in, Parker. How are your vibes? What's your thoughts after sort of that first couple of minutes?
So reading the manga, I kind of knew what they'll do, I guess, narrative-wise. But you touched upon the opening theme by Vaundy, and Vaundy actually also did one of my favorite songs that I listened to in recent times. It was called Naked Hero from Ranking of Kings, the second OP. And as soon as I saw that name hit the screen, I was like, yes, they're going in. And on the topic of music, during the opening scenes where you see Sakamoto kind of giving those goons the beatdown, it is to an OST. And I remember sitting there going to myself, this OST is giving me something familiar. What is this? As like, it's giving me My Hero Academia vibes. And lo and behold, it actually is composed by Yuki Hayashi. So Yuki Hayashi did You Say Run, which is one of the best OSTs. It was probably one of the best ways to start the episode because it was action, it was adrenaline, it was just all wrapped up into a bow. And then I guess seeing Sakamoto from what he was to what he becomes, you're like, oh, I guess if it's your first time seeing it, you're like, oh, hello, what is this? And if I was to, I guess, preface that with something that I actually feel, One Punch Man, similar vibes, would you say?
Very similar vibes. That's a great comp, actually. That's a really good comp. Yeah, it's I feel they could exist in the same universe, and I'm not sad about that.
Similar titles to One Punch Man would be The Way of the House Husband and Spy Family. These are similar kind of titles that you kind of get from Sakamoto Days. I guess the One Punch Man comparison would be an OP main character who basically is just over the top, but he is, I guess, always underestimated by his opponents. You have The Way of the House Husband that had a former Yakuza member who also gave up his way of living to fall in love and become a house husband. It's all in the name. And then you have Spy Family, because the only reason that I put that there is because of our deuterogonist, who also is Esper.
Damn, that's great. I didn't even connect that either. Look at you. You're telling me I was putting in the homework earlier. Look at you go. You are all over it. You may be getting an S rank here, I got to say. I don't give out many of those, but you're on the right track there, Parker. But yeah, it's a really fun tone setter, like you said. I like that we go from both ends of the spectrum where it's like like they're not shying away from the violence. We're seeing people gunned down, claret flowing, appendages getting busted. Like, it doesn't shy away from the death and the gruesomeness that is the world of professional hitman and just that underbelly type of society. But then we sort of whiplash to the far right after that, and yeah, he's a man out of shape, just working at a convenience store, loving his wife, loving his daughter, smacking back a lot of ramen and living a good life. Like, I know which end of the spectrum I'd like to be living on, even though like there is some divisiveness, like which version of Sakamoto is the hotter one. I like that there is some dad bod fans out there. Then there's also like some ex-hitman type of thirsty, silver-haired, handsome Taro fans out there too. Which way do you lean if you had to pick?
I've always been a fan of characters like Kakashi Sensei, so it might have to just be a bit of bias in me.
That's okay. That's okay. We like what we like. We do not yuck anyone's yums around here, Parker. So yeah, whatever your vibe is fine by us. So after the OP, we are then quickly introduced to Shin, who is also a hitman and Sakamoto's former partner. He's standing outside of the convenience store, sort of talking to himself, I finally found you, Sakamoto. Like, and you're like, oh, okay, what's going to happen here? Unsure what's going to play out here. We then sort of flash into the convenience store. We see the Sakamoto family all working away, living their best little lives. We see this young boy who's a constant in this episode, especially up to no good, trying to shoot his little toy bow and arrow, saying, if I hit this target that I've just rudely drawn on your door to the store, you give me a free juice. No one really disputes it. They just let him go. He misses the shot. But what then happens is we get random Angry Man number 6 comes in. The boy trips over, ends up spilling ink all over random Angry Man number 6. The customer is pissed, grabs the boy by the scruff of his shirt and is about to punch this little kid in the face, only for Sakamoto to intervene, just casually grabs his arm and stops it dead in the punch motion. So you already see, even though he has put on a bit of comfort kilos, he is still a strong boy here, because this muscly random Angry Man number 6 cannot get out of this, ends up sort of saying a few things, calling him a weirdo and walking off in sort of hysterics. But in that moment too, where we see Sakamoto grab the arm, we then also see him visualizing the next points in this combat scenario where he has a ballpoint pen and he's going to stab him right into the neck, like into the bloody carotid artery, and kill this guy swiftly. But then we get that sort of explained to us verbally here, because Shin, I guess with his hitman-based stealth abilities, he's already in the store, sitting on the counter, explains what goes down. And we get some more context here from the narrator talking about how Shin is also known as Shin the Clairvoyant, because he can read people's minds when he's in sort of close proximity to them. So I'm like, oh, okay. So there's a bit of like mystery going on around here. There's characters with like telepathic abilities. What other craziness is going to sort of follow as, we get to know Shin a little bit more here? We see then Shin, he's very upset because we learn pretty quickly that Taro is his idol, and the legendary assassin, as he's known around there in the streets, he's put on a ton of weight. And Shin is like, in his mind, he's like, you've gotten fat, you've thrown your life away, you're the worst. Like, I feel so upset and disappointed this moment that I idolized you for so long. But they're having a discussion out the front of the convenience store when he's sort of reiterating these thoughts mentally about this situation, goes to light up a cigarette, and that whole throwing of the life away is in fact not the case, Parker, because quick as a whip, Sakamoto whips out a box cutter, slices this cigarette in half, like in the blink of an eye, and you're like, whoa, what happened? And I love in this scene too, just the swagger on Sakamoto here, where they then cut to him and he's sort of just leaning casually on this bench out the front of the convenience store, slowly retracting the blade in the box cutter while slurping his ramen. Like, it is a power move, but I'm really enjoying this odd couple dynamic we're sort of starting to see develop between Shin and Sakamoto here. How are you feeling with this? And also, have you got a character, whether it be from anime, whether it be from any other form of pop cultural media, that would be like the ultimate or ideal yin to your yang? Who would be your Shin to your Sakamoto?
Okay, well, firstly, I just want to say that Angry Man number 6 chose the wrong day to wear white trousers.
Yeah.
But also to add on to your last point where Shin got the cigarette sliced, Sakamoto then points to the no smoking sign just like in one swift movement. But yes, to go back to your question, is it a character that would be the yin to my yang, or who I
Yeah,
or
to
two
your
characters
yang.
out?
Yeah. Who would be your, like, I guess, ultimate odd couple or buddy cop type of offsider? Who do you think would make the most impact with you, or the most entertaining scenarios play out? I don't know, however you want to interpret it.
Do you know what? I don't know why this one came to my mind first. I don't know why, but I want to go for a Psyche K from the Sasha's Life of Psyche K. I feel as though
Ooh.
if I was with that guy, like, there would never be a dull moment. He is someone who just wants to live a normal life. He just wants to like be low key in everything that he does. But things come his way where he has to basically use his psychic ability, another Esper similar to Shin, and it's a thing where that guy is not for want of not wanting to, if that makes sense, but he basically is super hilarious. He's super funny, but I guess it'll be a thing where he'll be the foil to me, who just likes to be spontaneous and random, and I just see that dynamic just having some adventures. Let's go.
That would be a good vibe. Shout out to Psyche K, by the way. Like, it is super duper mega underrated. It is well worth a watch, and conveniently, at least here in Australia, it is on Netflix too. Like, Netflix is starting to assemble a hell of an anime catalog at the moment. Like, I am loving seeing them aggressively go out and pursue whether it be new IP or legacy IP. Like, I saw Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, at least here in Australia, is now on Netflix now. And like, that's not even fully on Crunchyroll over here in some regions. So like, yeah, they're doing good things for anime. Like, I don't always enjoy big corporations and big business, but it's nice when they're making it more convenient for my viewing habits. That's for sure.
If I'm not mistaken, didn't they also make more money from anime in comparison to Crunchyroll?
They did. Like, and that's, I guess, heavily buoyed from like One Piece and stuff like that. I think One Piece is like taking up such a large portion of their anime viewership, but like, they've got so many heavy hitters and so many now Netflix exclusives, like obviously with Sakamoto Days being one, Blue Box being another one, them getting a lot of viewership. Yeah. Oh, I hope we get a third season sometime, man. I love it so much. Like, you know, like Violet Evergarden is on there, one of my all-time favorites. There's so much good stuff. Like Romantic Killer was an exclusive from them a couple of years ago.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, they're churning out some good stuff. And yeah, I'm holding out hope for a third season of Komi. But alas, Sakamoto Days is the home of, or its home is on Netflix. And I couldn't be happier, because hopefully it's going to lead to more exposure for this title as well, because it's fantastic. But yeah, circling back to the play-by-play, as we're seeing, yeah, Sakamoto flex his just overall bad son of a gun vibes here, slurping up ramen and, you know, cutting things apart with box cutters in the blink of an eye. We then do get to a little montage that plays out here where Shin's still trying to understand what the hell Sakamoto's up to, because we have a random like delivery guy roll up on a push bike, and Shin's sort of trying to work out scenarios. Oh, you're only here because you're still active, but you're laying low. Like, you're still out there killing, but this is just your alias, your cover, which is not the case, because we find out very quickly that Sakamoto has just become this small town's Mr. Fix-It. He is the jack of all trades. We see him taking on an assortment of odd jobs, like he's doing someone's hedges. He randomly like helps some little toddler suddenly want to eat. Like, the mum's like, oh, she won't eat this vegetable. And then Sakamoto makes it happen. He rips two like kids' sports balls into like from 1 into 2, folds them up and gives them away, and the kids run off happy again. And even though we're seeing all these cool things play out, Shin is not easily impressed, Parker, and ends up calling him a big fat joke. And even like as sort of this happening, he's sort of gotten wound up and frustrated that his time's been wasted. Ends up attempting to leave in a huff. The random troublesome boy from earlier, straight arrow shot to the back of the head as he then runs away in a puff of smoke. And then we see Shin jump in his car. But that disappointment quickly subsides, because once he's in the car, very tinted window, so he can't see what's going on in there, Shin starts fanboying so hard over Sakamoto. He's gushing over how cool he is and how badly he wants to work with him again. But it's funny because he's in there and he's like sort of rocking his head back and forth and like hitting the steering wheel. The car's like bouncing all kinds of ways, looking like
on
there's
hydraulics.
yeah, or like there's some pretty crazy sexy behavior taking place in this car, because we get this funny moment here where it cuts from in the car with Shin out to the car park, and we've got this horrified mother blocking the eyes of her small child, thinking that there's a bit of a bow chicka wow wow taking place in this white van. Oh, it's such a classic couple of words. Like anyone that hears that knows what's going on, Parker, or at least think they know what's going on. And once Shin settles down, he gets a call from the boss, who, as we find out, put a hit on Sakamoto for leaving the organization. Shin is currently the one contracted to carry out the hit, but he's doing his best in this moment to be like, boss, no, he's not a trouble anymore. He's fine. He's settled down. He's gotten fat. He's just a family man. We should cancel the hit. But we find out here that the boss wants no part of canceling this hit. Like, he is very stoic in his mindset where Sakamoto's left, he has to die. And so he's told Shin in this moment, if you don't do it, you little punk, I've got an army of hitmen who will gladly take this contract on and kill Sakamoto. The phone ends. I had a little chuckle here because then Shin, as the phone ends, like, get off my dick. And I'm like, you don't really hear that very often in anime.
Damn,
and I'm a little childish.
Because I watched the sub, so they definitely weren't that crude in the sub version. I might need to revisit.
I watched both the sub and the dub, and in the dub there is a lot of cussing. There is a lot of swearing. There's like the dick reference. You hear prick and asshole and all the main ones that are getting thrown around there, which I can appreciate because I think the voice acting for both the sub and the dub was really strong. I think they were both great. I enjoyed them thoroughly. But also, like, sort of getting this context about the boss and this army of hitmen that he's going to roll out to kill Sakamoto, you feel like the stakes are getting pretty high right now, Parker. Like, there is some stuff on the table here where it's either Shin kills Sakamoto or a hitman army is coming to potentially kill Sakamoto, and worse. How are you feeling this moment? Like, was the heart racing a little bit?
So the heart was well indeed racing because obviously with Shin's conflict, he's basically left with, if I don't kill my idol, it's going to be done by someone else. So I need to be the one to do it. So I'm going to basically sever the tie that I have with this man that I idolize. He went from being in the scene, as you said, gushing in the car, like rocking the wheels, to being confronted with that dilemma where, like you said, something worse could happen. It's not just Shin could go, and if he does what he sets out to do, he kills Sakamoto and the family spared, but you don't know what would happen if, for example, an army of hitmen go to the convenience store. So the stakes are very much high in this stage.
Yeah, and I love with the storytelling of this in the anime and the manga, I like that it can just yo-yo between silly and serious in one fell swoop and not feel jarring at the same time, because like you believe what's happening, you're believing these characters, you're immersed, and you get a funny poo joke that we're about to sort of mention in a second. You go from like...
to segue to.
Yeah, like this whole family could be murdered. Oh, is that alien poo? Like, you know what I mean? Like
alien
it's sort
poop
of,
on a stick.
Yeah, it's so good. And shout out to poop on a stick. More people need to know about that. Actually, no, they don't. It's horrible. Don't touch poo, especially if it's not yours. But anyway, we flash forward and we're getting Shin back at his apartment, having a very somber moment, reflecting on his past, and we're seeing some of his times with Sakamoto, and we sort of rip right back to the start again, where we've got this very like jazz-inspired noir soundtrack, and it's very doom and gloom, and they're having a good time. And in this moment, Shin's reflecting, going, it's probably best for me to carry out this hit because, the flow-on effect from the organization getting involved could lead to a lot more death, a lot more chaos. So it's nice to see him make the call, like you said, like he's like, no, I'm going to do this. I'm going to sever the tie. It's the respectful right thing to do. And then we jump forward to the next day, and we're greeted with the little troublesome ink boy again. He's out the front of the store with Hana, and he's prodding at some random poop. And we see Awe, Sakamoto's wife, just, cleaning the stoop, making sure that the convenience store is at a high standard. And we get some random thoughts where Shin like appears in the scene, and they're all, and like the little ink boys like, what kind of poop is this? Is this alien poop? And I'm like, okay, this is interesting. Where's this going? Have we got a dun-dun crossover about to happen here? What's happening? And, Shin sort of just ignores them all, keeps walking through because he switched into Hitman mode here, got the dead eyes. We see him pull out a pistol, and then we see him pull out a silencer, attach the silencer, and he starts walking into the store with, the pistol covered in his jacket, and he's sort of telling Sakamoto here that he's leaving town. And I think, Parker, I really loved in this scene where he sort of got this monologue going about how he's going to leave, but they time it so well where he's like, yeah, I'm leaving town, so I think it's time to say goodbye. And he pulls out the gun and sort of fires the shot just as he whips that line out. And Sakamoto just non-reacts, just casually sitting at the counter of the convenience store. He's got a live pistol round coming at him, and he just casually spits a cough drop out, or they call it candy in the dub here, but in the manga and stuff was a cough drop. Yeah. And just casually spits it out, hits the bullet, redirects the bullet so it doesn't hit him and kill him. And he's just like, it's all good. It's all good, buddy. And then we, from this moment, see this awesome cat and mouse type battle play out in the convenience store. I do love that the Sakamoto family, like Hana and Awe and the random ink boy, have still all stayed outside during this sort of crazy moment. Because I'm like, man, is it going to dial up that type of stress and we're going to see a stray get clipped here by a bullet or something? But no, it was all good. But we see again, like, the legendary Hitman, that's not just a moniker. We're seeing it here where he's immediately in his element. He's using an assortment of snacks to disrupt and confuse Shin and sort of throw him off the scent as far as where he's hiding. And we end up sort of seeing, again, Sakamoto using these cough drops or these candies as like little slingshot bullets, just peppering towards Shin. It's a cool fight. It ends with Shin getting knocked the hell out by a giant kick. And then we sort of flash forward, I guess, a couple of hours later, and it's now close to dinner time. Shin wakes up in one of the spare beds in the Sakamoto residence, covered in bandages, and we've got Aoi and Hana. Oh, you're awake finally. Like, dinner's nearly ready. Like, you want to have a meal? And so even though Shin just tried to kill their husband and father, they're like, it's all good, honey. Like, it's fine. Come down, enjoy this food. And so he joins them for dinner, complete with options of super, mega, or ultra servings of rice, which,
nothing normal.
Double thumbs up for me. And yeah, I love that he's just like, I'll have the regular one, thank you. Like, and that sort of, as this scene sort of begins, like comes to a close, he's hesitant to try the food at first. He's like, oh, maybe like he knows I just tried to kill him, right? Maybe he's going to try and poison me. But it's like, haha, luckily I've built my tolerance up over years. This is going to be fine. And he chomps into the food, and the food is that tasty. You see him start to well up and get teary-eyed. And in this moment, and I can relate to this very much so, because food is such a bonding type of experience. It is such an emotional, personal experience. I was right there with Shin in this moment where he's bitten into this food. It tastes so good. His eyes are welling up, and he's realizing that Sakamoto quit the organization in order to protect this life he's built. Like, this meal embodies the life he built. And I'm like, man, I love this. I love how legendary Sakamoto is, even when he's fat or thin. And I love food, and I love that it's all come together in this beautiful, really touching scene.
I think I can definitely say that we both love food. Food is something that kind of, in hindsight, brought us together before anime, or did it?
I think so. It might have been at least in parallel, right? Like, it might have been like a 1A to a 1B.
Yeah. So, like on the show, we do a Fresh Bites review where we speak about anime over food, and this is where our paths first crossed. But anyway, back to the anime. I actually feel that that scene, and I remember where I read it in the manga, because I was on a commute to work, sitting on a train, and I remember being so like enthralled in this action scene. Like, it was, like you said before, it was John Wick-esque. It was something that was kind of like typical like action, like Hitman style. Like you said before, we said, you know what, I need to leave town, but before that, it's like, I gotta say goodbye. Like, it's just all those things kind of like was done so well. And I remember watching the anime adaptation where I went to myself, this could either go really well or it could underwhelm. And I'm happy to say that I have zero complaints with how that scene was done.
Yeah, I think it was probably the most impressive scene in this entire first episode. Like, we did see some violence and some action carry out right from the get-go. when we sort of see the legendary of Sakamoto from, five-ish years ago. But this scene, it was so well animated by TMS, and it really helped elevate, I think, the rest of the episode, where there was, like we sort of addressed at the start, where it did have a bit of a nostalgic vibe. This scene felt a lot more modern to me because you could see all these animation sort of styles and tips and tricks really start to elevate the content. And it was just so clean. And I think one thing that I really like in Sakamoto Days in this first episode is they know when to dial up or when to turn down the background music and the accompanying soundtrack, and it can really help elevate and really sort of add to the impact of what's happening here. And that kick that Shin took, like, I felt that as I was watching it, because it was monstrous, and it felt like it rippled through the television into me on the couch. Like, I was like, oh, help me. I need a serving of super mega or ultra rice.
Shin went flying. That kick was so clean. I blinked. He was already across the store in the wall. I was like, oof. Surprised he woke up that same evening.
Yeah. But I guess, maybe they've got some good medicines in the Sakamoto household as well. And I guess that meal that they had, it looked fantastic. Like, anime food is some of the best looking food. Like, I know, you and I are real people and we eat real food, but man, some of the stuff that you see in anime, like, it makes me salivate. And I wanted some of that karage that I think was sort of the clincher bite for him that made him get all teary-eyed. Like, I wanted that in and around my mouth as well. And I was so devastated I didn't get any.
Oh, do you know what? I think I might make you upset with this little factoid.
Please don't.
I'm sorry.
But actually go for it.
This is the reason you need to come visit. There's a local establishment that is going to be doing a anime watch along. We're going to be watching Your Name, and at the same time where the food comes out in that movie, they'll be bringing us out the food from the movie, and I cannot wait.
That's so clever. I'm not at all jealous right now, Parker. Like, not one bit. Like, that sounds horrible. I don't want to be there at all. No, thank you. No, that sounds so good. It sounds so good. And shout out, like, Makoto Shinkai, he's going to announce his new film sometime in the coming months, which I am hyped as hell about.
I hope it's in the same universe or has the same continuity, because they're always really good.
I think so. Like, I feel as long as he hits, like, usually we get some good science fiction, we get some good romance, and if we can mix them too with sort of that fantasy sprinkling that he's, known for, I'm going to have a good time. But I'm curious to see what the world is that he's creating this time around, because he's been on a heater. Like, that 6-year window where he did Your Name, Weathering with You, and then Suzume, all within 6 years. Like, that's some rare air right there.
I love that phrase. I'm going to have to cite you, but I'm going to take it.
Totally fine. Sharing is caring, as they say. But circling back, we then sort of see the dinner has since finished. Shin has left the Sakamoto residence, and he's actually gone to the hideout of the corporation, or I guess where Boss and the various other hitmen reside. And he's there begging for Mr. Sakamoto's life. He's sort of saying, hey, I can't kill this guy. I still idolize him. He poses no threat. Don't worry about it. But then there's this really touching moment here, because at first Boss is just laughing it off, telling him to get stuff that's going to happen. But Shin then offers up his own life in place of Sakamoto. And you're like, damn, like, okay, this guy means that much to you that you pulled out a pistol and you're holding it to your head, ready to take your life, if the boss man can guarantee that Sakamoto and his family won't get hurt. And the boss obviously like, yeah, that's fine. We'll accept that as payment. Don't worry about it. Forgetting that Shin is also obviously Shin the clairvoyant, and he can read the minds of people close to him. And he finds out very quickly that the boss was bullshitting, and he was sort of internally laughing off that he's going to kill him, and then he's going to go kill the family, and just continue to be a bad son of a gun. And so Shin sort of then starts a shootout with Boss and his cronies in this warehouse. We then find out that Sakamoto has been listening in the entire time from the convenience store. He whips out a random key, sticks it into the cash register, punches a random combination of numbers on the cash register, then opens up his giant weapons cache, and he's got everything. Like, he's got an arsenal in there, but settles on the lowly little stun gun and then heads into the fray.
That armory was impressive, and I remember seeing that. And obviously, you read the manga, you kind of forget some things. And I actually forgot about the armory scene. So when I saw it animated and like the whole like cache of weaponry come out, I was like, ooh, this guy, I forgot. He was the legendary hitman. Of course, he's still got the tools of the trade. And then, like you said, him basically having all these like devastating weaponry that can kill people. He just goes, oh, you know, stun gun, let's go.
Yeah. Yeah, and we find out a bit later that's not the only weapon he utilizes in this upcoming battle sequence. But yeah, like it makes you sort of step back and pause and go, man, he is packing. Like if a war was to end up on his doorstep, he's got it covered because he's got every gun under the sun here in the convenience store. So yeah, him and his family will be okay.
Son of a gun.
Yeah, he's so good. He's so cool, and I love that he's dad bod, just like unassuming cool. I think that's my favorite thing about Sakamoto. But yeah, we sort of jump from that scene back to this warehouse. Shin is holding his own against all these hitmen and members of the organization. We do get a really cool brief first-person shooter moment where we've got this one hitman with like an Uzi, I think it is, or a MP5, I think it might be. Sorry, I got to get my guns right. Know my video game sort of back history there. And yeah, we sort of... Yeah, and we sort of just see straight down the barrel like we're playing a video game. But then we're also hearing the thoughts of all these baddies because Shin is obviously within earshot or within, I guess, Esper-based ability here and can understand where they are. So he's getting the jump on them time and time again. So he sort of kicks that guy's ass. We get a random, again, I love in action, film, anime, every other subgenre, where someone just randomly always pulls out a rocket launcher for some reason in like close quarters. And so we get that play out here. There's a guy that whips out a rocket launcher from like 10 meters away and you're like, okay, like, check box complete.
He doesn't care about the splash zone.
Does not care. Yeah, does not care at all. And so Shin's mind reading is keeping him alive through this sort of exchange. He then sort of attempts to approach a couple more other hitmen, gets shot in the leg, and sort of his sort of bout is ending in this moment. And he sort of almost falls to the ground, admits defeat, and accepts that his life is about to, be over. But not until Sakamoto arrives and promptly cleans house. He uses his stun gun to sort of take down the two hitmen that were about to sort of finish off Shin. And then he starts doing battle with a whole host of other ones. And the coolest moment, I think, just about in this entire episode happens here, where he gets a couple of bullets shot at him and he catches 2 bullets with a pair of chopsticks.
That was so cold.
It was so good. And again, like deadpan, no sells it. Just, he's like, I'm a badass. Who cares? Like, I just caught 2 bullets with some wooden chopsticks. Ain't no thing. Like, and then goes about dismantling these people physically, emotionally, and also their weaponry, because one of my favorite early pages and panels from the manga is where he's sort of, stepping around bullets and jumps in and like dismantles this one guy's pistol in one fell swoop. And they do it really, really, really well in this scene. Clean. I'm like, yes, hero moment, fist pump, let's go.
Yeah, do you know what? Like, to kind of double back to like the comparison I made earlier about One Punch Man, and Shin is kind of like Genos, in the sense that he is super capable. He basically can hold his own. The only reason that I guess he was in danger during this whole confrontation was because of a accidental gunshot, because it actually wasn't the person aiming for him. It was a thing where obviously Shin was using his Esper ability to like predict what they're going to do, but one of the goons accidentally let off a shot when they got hit. So that was the only reason that the bullet grazed him. And then you have Sakamoto, aka Saitama, who basically comes in and basically like just cleans up house. It was perfect.
It really was. It really was. And like, they're just such a great duo together, not only in this episode, but future chapters and future episodes. Like, I really love their dynamic. And just, seeing Sakamoto here again, like out of shape, still just casually doing his thing and kicking ass and like not even breaking a sweat. Like, hats off to you, good sir. Like, you are the man, the myth, the legend of this world, and I'm here for it. And so it ends up becoming the boss guy still left with 2 more of his heavies. Sakamoto dispatched them like it was nothing. Like, it was just, he probably has a harder time choosing which ramen to eat sort of throughout the day than it was in this battle. Takes them down. The baddies have been defeated. Shin sort of gets back up, and then he's like, I'm just reiterating, Sakamoto, like, I'm really leaving town. Like, I'm out of here. This life ain't for me anymore. I'm done with the world of hitmanning and assassinating and all that type of stuff. Only for then Sakamoto to just casually go, throws an apron at him, like throws one of the convenience store sort of uniform aprons at him. And then he's like, you're going to get 800 yen an hour, plus also paid overtime should you need to, work outside of your shifts. And Shin is just all kinds of confused and shocked in this moment. But we don't have to wait too long to sort of see what decision was made here, because we flash forward. It's, it's been a few days or a week or so since then, it feels like, watching this scene, because we've got the entire Sakamoto family and Shin all work in the store. We've still got little troublesome Ink Boy here causing a ruckus. And it's just a nice, cozy way to wrap this first episode up as the ED starts to sort of roll in, where we get this just comfortable bow where it's like high energy at the start, high energy right till the end. And now here's something comfortable and happy for you to go home with, like, as far as your final thoughts of this first episode. And then the ending itself, we get a lot of nice, really pretty static images and static artwork covering the main characters. Accompanying that is a nice, like, J-pop type banger called Futsu by a band called Cotton Candy. And it just left me feeling good after this first episode, Park. Like, I loved what I got over those 20 odd minutes.
To touch on the first off, the closing theme by Cotton Candy, this is actually their first anime collaboration. So, like, shout out to them, because it actually was a decent collaboration piece. But yes, the ending to the first episode of Sakamoto Days was like all I could ask for in terms of what it set out to do. It accomplished it to a T. I'd say that the danger that there is sometimes to reading a manga that's a comedy-based manga and then that getting adapted to an anime is sometimes because the gags are coming, because you kind of know what those things are going to be. It may not be as funny because you've already relived those moments, but this was very good in basically taking what you and me both know and just elevating it, making it just as funny, if not more. And that 800 yen per hour, which I'm not sure how it kind of translates to your currency, but over here that's like about £4 an hour.
It ain't much money over here either. Yeah, I think it's about $8 an hour or something for us. Like, it's not big cash.
It's not big cash, but Shin said that he would literally kill to work for Sakamoto again. So he got his wish. Yeah,
it's such a great, heartfelt ending. And like, yeah, even if I didn't know what was to come, like if that was just my first time experiencing Sakamoto Days, I would have been so happy and content with what I got, because like I said at the start, we got really good world building. We got some plot development. We got some character development from understanding our MCs, where they came to be from, who they are now. We got some stakes. We've got some comedy. We've got some romance. We've got some action. We've got some hyper violence thrown in here and there. Like, and it all just blends together to create a cocktail that I very happily sipped on through these 20 minutes, man.
No, of course. It was a beautiful anime, not gonna lie.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, so I've got a couple of questions for you. I guess the first probably question goes without saying, but will you continue to watch Sakamoto Days after this first episode?
I will indeed. Unfortunately, Netflix doesn't do the whole, we're going to give you all of the episodes at once to have fun. They actually are in line with the anime dropping it weekly. So I need to sit back and wait and add it to my weekly watch.
Bide our time. And the good thing for me, like, it is a really, really, really early Sunday morning release, like a 2 a.m. Sunday for me. So like this morning, waking up, made a coffee, made some toast, sat on the couch and just smiled, filled my belly and had a good time. So I'm looking forward to these Sakamoto Sundays, I'm going to call
them. Sakamoto Sundays. I love it.
Yeah. But also, have you got a favorite scene or a favorite moment that stands out to you among many, I think, in this first episode?
Oh, it's hard to choose, but if I was to pick the first one that pops to mind, it is actually hard to choose. I'd say that my favorite moment from this episode would have to be the it's kind of a bit of a weird one to say, but the scene where the Sakamoto's doing the odd jobs, kind of like Gintama-esque, where he's kind of like going through the neighborhood, being that handyman, even like physically taking a single ball, splitting into two, and then giving it to both the kids to make sure that they're happy. Like he said, he basically has built this life, built this reputation that is contrast to his first reputation of being an infamous hitman, to being someone that's so dependable and someone that basically does what he can to keep the peace. It was a good little scene.
It was great, but there was one part that, like, the guy with the needing the hedges and the plants trimmed, he's definitely taking advantage of Sakamoto. It's like, dude, buy a ladder, hire a cherry picker or something. Like, these trees are like 5 meters in the air, and Sakamoto's, obviously nimble still at his
Out here
size
like a
and his
ninja.
age, just straight up there, trims them in no time. But I feel like maybe people in this township are certainly taking advantage of Sakamoto's kindness and his abilities. So I'm watching you, random neighbor with your big hedges.
He'll be back next year to ask for the same favor.
Oh, yeah, he will. Like, it'll be a quarterly thing. Like, what a dirty dog. But I think my favorite scene was that situation where we're seeing Shin start to doubt Sakamoto, saying he's part, like when they're having the discussion at the bench at the front of the store, and where he goes to light the cigarette up, and we see that box cutter just cut this thing. Like, you don't even see it happen because he's that fast. And then, yeah, just the coolness and just the casualness where, yeah, the thumbs up behind to the no smoking sign as he's just leaning on one arm, thumb back, and then like slurping ramen up.
His
like,
ramen.
I'm like, man, you are a baller. Like, you are a dude, and I want to be your friend. Yeah, that's my favorite. That's my favorite. But yeah, like we've sort of mentioned, it's funny because even looking at a lot of the most common comparisons, like listeners, viewers, if you are still on the fence about Sakamoto Days, these are sort of the most common, like, if you're going to like that, you'll love this, and vice versa. And a lot of these anime we've just spoken about organically without any prompts here, Parker, like Gintama, Way of the House Husband, and Great Teacher Onizuka are sort of the main three that I've been seeing around, as far as if you're
GTO was
vibing
really
with
good.
those, you're going to vibe with this. And I completely agree. Like, tonally, if you had a good time with any of those three or some of the other anime we've watched, I mentioned on this episode, you're going to love Sakamoto Days. Really
I
so.
fully co-sign that. Fully co-sign it.
All right, man. Well, let's jump into the last word presented by our friends over at Japan Crate. Experience Japan through snacks and knickknacks via monthly package drops courtesy of japancrate.com. And while you're there, be sure to use code Sakura15 at checkout to save yourself 15% off your order and get free shipping to anywhere on planet Earth. So, Parker, what is your last word, your last words, your last thoughts on Sakamoto Days?
Final thoughts would be, if you haven't watched it and you're still on the fence, definitely say it's worth a go. It's something that you're in for a ride, and the gags are just going to get funnier. There's scenes that are coming that are just going to like have you laughing, like belly laughing, not even just like a chuckle. I'd say that the overall, without giving away anything, I'd say that the overall direction of this series is going to be one of the animes of the year, like hands down, if it stays true to the source material.
I am with you 100%. Like, when this was first announced, it was funny, like it was rumored to be announced on the very first episode of More Than Headlines we ever did last year. And I was saying, like, if this does get the anime treatment, it will become one of the next big hits. And I was saying, like, this, Kaiju, Solo, and Dandadan are sort of the next big four, in my opinion. And I still feel that way after this first episode. Like, I'm really happy with what I saw. I'm really excited to see what I know is to come translate to screen. And it's just a good time. So yeah, you're doing yourself a disservice by not checking out Sakamoto Days as soon as you can. All right, my man. I want to ask you one more question before we start looking to close this episode down. And it's unprompted. I haven't given you any sort of time to think or prepare an answer for this one. It's not crazy. It's not too stressful, so don't worry. I'd like you to recommend an anime for myself and the listeners and the viewers to check out. Like, it can be something recent, it can be from your Mount Rushmore, or just anything that comes to mind. Like, what's an anime you feel doesn't get enough love and needs to be checked out?
Oh, that you, sir, have well and truly put me on the spot, because I've watched so many pieces, and it's just to pluck one out of the air. They usually say that your first thing that comes to mind is what you should go with, so I'm going to go with that. And I've spoken to you about anime before. I think even before we got together to plan this episode, everything that like I had watched, I think you had already watched. So like it probably will be less of a recommendation for you, but more of a recommendation for the Sugoi squad. I always want to say that. But I will probably pluck out. Let's go with. What are we gonna go with?
No pressure. No,
there is pressure because I'm in front of your amazing community here, and I need to give them a good one. But let me give you guys something short, just so if you don't like it, you haven't stolen too much of your time. So in terms of 12 episode animes, this is a 12-piece, and it's one of my favorite anime, regardless of the length. It's called Death Parade. Death Parade, if I was to summarize it, it's about people who they pass away in the land of the living, and they go to a kind of like a limbo, so to speak. And there are arbiters who are tasked with basically kind of like hosting games, and those games would basically decide if they go to get reincarnated or if they go to the void. And the people who go into this limbo, they forget how they died, they forget how they got there, but their true personalities always come out. And it's such a very, very beautiful piece of narration told in a small package, only 12 episodes. And if you also like Death Note, there's a little Easter egg in there for you.
It's so, I love that you went with this one. Like, this is actually one we're about to cover on this podcast in the next couple of weeks, because I am such a big fan of Death Parade. And yeah, like, it doesn't get talked about enough. Like, it is fun and unique and interesting and heartbreaking and stress-inducing. And you feel for some of these characters that you meet in these in this 12 episode run. It's also got an absolute banger of an OP, by the way. Like, it is beautiful. A toe tapper. Yeah, good call, man. That's a hell of a recommendation. Also done by Madhouse, one of the best studios in the game. So like the animation, fantastic. So that's an excellent recommendation.
I was on the spot, but I had to pull something out.
Yeah, you were like Sakamoto with those chopsticks. Like, you grabbed that question-shaped bullet just now and you just threw it away like it was nothing. So well done to you. All right, so we are getting to the back end of this one, but Parker, going to throw the microphone over to you one last time, and I'd love to know, what you got coming up, anything you wanted to shout, anything you wanted to mention, and also, find out again where we can find you as well as your fellow freshmen on those interwebs.
Thank you, sir. So thanks for having me, and thanks guys for listening. I go by the name of Parker Sensei of the Anime Freshman. You can catch us on our bi-weekly podcast episode that drops every other Wednesday, wherever you get your podcast fix. We are at Anime Freshman on all the socials, from Instagram to TikTok to X to now Blue Sky. We're trying that out. We'll see how long that lasts. You can catch our content, the freshest content that we put out on YouTube. We put out things like our Fresh Bites review show. We speak about anime over getting a bite in various restaurants. We have event highlights that we do. And speaking of events, we are in the process of planning our next Freshie Awards, which is going to be a anime awards night that we throw together. So if you follow us, keep an eye out for that. But I said a lot. If you want to basically catch everything from our Twitch to all of our socials, go to www.animefreshmen.com and stay in touch.
Yeah, dude, the website's super clean. I am kind of annoyed and waiting very impatiently for you to drop some merch though. Like, there is a cheeky merch tab, but it doesn't take me anywhere unless I'm just, it's a broken redirect. But I was looking at it the other day and I'm like, man, I'd love to cop a shirt, because like, you guys and girls are very stylish. And yeah, like the jersey, like for the audio-based listeners, they've got their own very, very sexy soccer or football jersey, depending on where you are in the world, with Anime Freshman emblazoned right on the front. It looks so good. Obviously, you've got the name on the back too. Like, it'd be a bit awkward if I had your name on the back of my one too. But like, yeah, it's a good time, man. So get some merch out, God damn it.
I'll tell you what, sir. If you basically go onto our website and join our newsletter, we do have something potentially in the works, but I'll definitely keep you posted.
Okay, I am joining the newsletter right now. Sorry about the keystrokes, but that is me truthfully signing up. So I have now signed up. So keep me posted, please and thank you. But yeah, check out what the Anime Freshmen are doing there. Animefreshmen.com is a good hub, because you'll be able to find all the social links from there. But dude, thank you so much for taking time out of your Sunday morning for me and riffing on all things Sakamoto Days. I had an absolute fantastic time, and I'm hyped as hell not only chat more with you about anime in general, but also consume more Sakamoto Days as it drops next week.
Amazing. Well, if you want to welcome me back, I will be far from complaining. Thanks again.
Hell yeah. And I'll bring an alcoholic beverage next time. But yeah, listeners, viewers, Segoy Squad, whether your anime be subbed, dubbed, or still yet to come, enjoy yourself, stay hungry, and much love to all the gorgeous waifus and husbandos out there. Goodbye.